Today, we're going to do some more nightmare runs, but we are doing it a little bit backwards. We're going to start off with a T16, and then we're going to jump into a T15, and you'll see why after this run. T15 was absolutely nuts. This one was actually not too bad. I'm kind of enjoying doing these runs, wandering around a little bit, trying to figure out what's going on, trying to find a groove. Went from T11, T12 right to 16, figured see if I can do them, and they're actually turning out to be pretty good. So this one actually has some different affixes on it. I'll have to put those up on the screen. So far it's going pretty good. All we need to do is clear the bandits there. We gotta slay the bandit sentries, and we do have a nightshade chasing us around in this one, which of course you see there. It spawns black pools which silence, and can't really do a whole lot. So between all the AoE, it wasn't too bad. This one was easy. The nightshade, it gets a little bit tricky with a lot of mobs, especially when you get body blocked and then you get silenced. You can't really do a whole lot, but it's not bad. We're making our way through it. We got 2 sentries to go. This one is tier 16. The boss is locked, so we have to figure out where to go. Zooming right back out, looking at the dungeon affixes, we deal 10% more lightning damage, which isn't much. There's also a drifting shade, and monsters deal extra damage to the barrier. Nothing we haven't seen before. So far, so good. We're going to continue plowing through. Sometimes when we don't get a crit, it feels a little bit bad, but we are still leveling. We're still working on it. We're trying to run the best endgame build that we can while leveling, and that it's working out. So right now, as you can see, the boss is he was running around all over me, and sometimes when they run around, just can't. For some reason, something's funky there. When they run in circles around our character, we can hit them, but we can't get a crit. Something is a little bit off, and it just feels like either it's a visual thing or there's actually something going on where it feels like we just can't do any damage. So sometimes evading out and coming back, resighting it a little bit helps out. Plowing through a couple of trees, nothing big going on there. One left to go. We got a shadow guy. We got a teleporter, shadow enhanced. Not too bad, he fears. As long as you stay out of the circles, of the fear circles, not too bad. Of course, the nightshade is putting down their own circles. And this guy is fire enhanced. He has a fire trap on the bottom, plus the fear, plus the frozen. So there's a lot going on there. Trying to figure out where to stand. It can get a little bit tricky, a little bit interesting. But this one's actually going pretty good. Really enjoying the bear. I wish I was a few levels higher, but that's actually taken some time. Recently, I was running a friend of mine through some nightmare dungeons. We did some tier 8s, tier 10s, a couple of 12s, and he went from level 40 to almost level 50 in a little bit over an hour, about an hour and a half. And in the same time as he got 9 levels or so, I got 2 or maybe 3 paragons. So it's definitely slowed down quite a bit. As I see him leveling, he was getting 2 to 3 levels every time I got a paragon, which of course is a quarter of a level. So it's a lot slower, but we're making good progress. Just graduated to Worldstone Tier 4. I am now in tier 4. I have a video coming out on that. That was kind of cool. Got together with a friend of mine, met through the game, and a couple of bears just tore it up in World Tier 4. So that's a must-see. The capstone is it's tough. It's pretty tough. He said he's tried it 5 different times. I've tried it twice, and we were actually able to do it together, levels 65 and 66. So that was kind of cool. This one is pretty good, going pretty well. This guy just completely disappeared. Travel to the Skeletal Rise. That is our mission. That is where we're going. I feel like this is one of the easier dungeons as long as you avoid the sentries. As long as you avoid the trees, it's not bad. And of course, it's a little bit RNG dependent, depending on how many crits we get. But the newly found ring we got in the last video, or right before the last video, which was episode 3, that has given us increased attack speed on critical strikes with our core skill. So every time our core skill crits, we get 25% increased attack speed. And then we can start to go ham. So then it actually feels good to play. Other than that, or before that, it's a little bit slow, but not too bad. Slow and steady. That's the way we do it. Got some really good pummels coming out there. When we hit, he hits really hard, And then, of course, I think every 20th kill overpowers, and overpower just smacks. So, really enjoying this guy. Itching a little bit to get to World Stone Tier 4, T4. And I actually want to... And I actually have been wanting to play a class that's a little bit faster because, as you can see, I got totally body blocked there. Couldn't move with everything that's going on. Sometimes you just get stuck. And when you don't have enough spirit, it just feels really bad because you can't get out. So eventually, we'll play a faster class with more mobility. Maybe somebody that does a little bit faster at killing stuff. Maybe a little bit less tanky and faster at killing stuff. But for right now, this is a ton of fun. Really enjoying the bear while we're leveling. 100 is a very long way to go. So when we get there, we're going to figure out what we're going to do depending on the gear that we have. I have been getting quite a bit of wolf gear. Of course, the wolf has a few different builds, so not everything that I get I can use. Got a couple of wolf uniques. Got a nice little staff, a wolf staff unique as well. That one's kind of cool. I believe Claw turns into either a storm skill or a lightning skill. That one's kind of neat. There's a couple of other things. I do have the full-time werewolf armor as well, so we'll put that to good use. But right now I'm having a blast leveling with the bear. It feels good to run stuff over and just to pulverize everything in sight. Sometimes when we get those gigantic crits, he just wipes everything on the screen. So it's pretty cool. We are on the last skeletal construct over here. Got a nice Paragon point there. We'll have to take care of that. You can see the Nightshade drive me nuts. And that was the end. So it actually wasn't too bad. Let's check our drops. Let's kill some skellies. These guys are absolutely passive. Inside the bubble, nothing can hurt us. Nothing great. We're going to continue leveling up our Spirit Glyph. Trying to get that to 15. And the Cyclone Armor provides physical... That's not too great. I'm not using Cyclone Armor because it pushes mobs away. Jumping into the T15, you deal 10% more frost damage. Empowered elites are cold enhanced. Monsters deal fire damage. So there's a lot of things going on here. Plus they blow up as well. This one's a lot of fun. The reason I made this one last is because this one was, even though it's a tier lower, this one was a lot harder and it got crazy. Primarily because all the things that blow up everywhere. So it's just mayhem. I really enjoyed running this one. I'm trying to continuously put out this content for enjoyment. If you are killing time at work, if you are doing anything else, or if you wish you were doing anything else other than what you're doing, hopefully this is enjoyment for you. I know there's a lot of guides out there, a lot of build guides, and a lot of them are endgame, and not all of us are endgame. Not all of us have the gear, the endgame gear that we need. So hopefully you are enjoying these videos, and hopefully you're enjoying the progression as well. Watching the continued runs get harder and harder, pushing higher tier, of course. Speed farming. This one is not so much of a speed farm. There's a lot going on. The last one, we found a really nice groove, and it just went really smooth. This one's just, there's a ton of stuff going on. We're running around a little bit linear. We're dodging all kinds of stuff. So there's all kinds of stuff blowing up. But I am having a blast looking for the pedestals, looking for the ancient statues to return to the pedestal. That is what we're after right now. So I like the variety of these dungeons as well. There's a lot of different things to do. Some of the maps are a lot easier. The ones with all the doors, those are my least favorite ones. There's just so many ways to go, so many doors. This one's pretty cool. This one's pretty cool. We're having a blast. We're smashing through everything, which is awesome. Shamans keep rezzing everything, so we do have to make sure to clear the shamans. And right now, it seems like we're going in a nice little circle trying to find it. And there we go. There is the statue. There's a poison elite here. There's a shaman in the back. There's a frost guy. There's all kinds of stuff. He's got a frost tempest going on. Let's go ahead and kill the shaman. And then we're going to continue doing what we do. Now, the monsters are at level 68. This is very nice. This is what we want. We want them to be 3 levels higher than we are, because we get a 20%, I believe it's a 20% bonus to experience if the monsters are 3 levels higher. So that's kind of where we want to be. Anything over that, I believe the experience does not scale anymore. I believe it caps out. I could be wrong. If I am incorrect, leave me a comment down below. But I believe that is the case. The experience caps out at plus 20%, even if you are fighting monsters that are 15 levels above you. All right, one down, one more to go. Where is this one? This one is a little bit of a search, running around, trying to figure out where these things are. But since we only have one to go, this should be fairly simple. We got another Nightmare Sigil, which is really nice. Those are always good, even if they're lower tier. At this point, I am not running anything under tier 12, which is really nice. Even if they are lower tier, level 6 or 4 or whatever, we can always break them down for crafting materials so we can craft higher ones. And I have been dropping a lot of 15 and 16s. I have a couple of 19s I haven't attempted yet. I am trying to get a little bit better gear before I go into the 19s, just because there's so much more going on and they hit really, really hard. It's not that I can't kill them, it's just they hit really hard, so I don't want to keep dying constantly. One of the reasons I enjoy playing very tanky characters is because I don't like dying. I understand the power spike of somebody like a sorceress or a rogue. They do a ton of damage, but they're also squishy, so if you make a one movement mistake, or if you mess up on a cooldown, you're dead. I would rather do a little bit less damage, but be a little bit tankier and bully everything around. All right, here we go. That's done. Travel to the depths. So we got to continue going down. We got a nice little protection shrine. Not too bad. Continuing through, we got to find what's waiting for us. So we actually, I think we found it. I think at this point we found what's waiting for us. And there's a lot. I got body blocked again, trying to get out. Sometimes when you're not generating enough resource spirit, in our case, it makes it tough to kill enemies. And when everything's on cooldown, you just kind of stand there hoping something would come up. So that is a thing as well. Managing your cooldowns properly is a thing. But we seem to have no issues here. We're gonna bully some mobs around, try to avoid the vampiric ones. If you don't know, guys that have vampiric on them, when they hit you, of course, they gain life back. So whenever they glow red, they make a little sound, and you want to avoid them if you can. If you can't kill them fast enough, you want to avoid getting hit. Right now, we seem to be struggling with resource, and I realized why I'm struggling with generating resource, because distant monsters actually have, ranged monsters have 15 chance, I believe it's 15% chance to actually drain your resource. So there was a couple of points in the game. I'm going out to look. Monsters attacks from distance burn 12% of primary resource. And I was wondering why I was having a hard time with killing that guy. And it was because my resource was being drained. So all I had was just a basic attack. So keeping that in mind, we now have to be more careful. We now have to try to clear the distant enemies because we don't have resource. Without resource, we can't do a whole lot. So that is also a thing. This is the first dungeon where I believe I've either ran it with this affix on it or that I've actually noticed all the other ones were easy. And you see me struggling here because there's so many ranged. My resources just constantly depleted and I can't do any damage. And it's just so frustrating when you can't do any damage at all and you're used to one-shotting mobs. But knowing what we know, we are going to continue moving on. Going to kill some of the succubus. Going to kill some of the ranged enemies. And hopefully start to generate some resource. This is really, really embarrassing. Standing there struggling. Unable to use any of our skills because our resource is constantly depleted. It makes it a lot more fun. A lot more challenging. Frustrating at the same time. But a lot more fun running these dungeons because of the very nice variety of the dungeon affixes. The different dungeons as well. And of course the things that we have to do to complete the dungeon. So it's kind of cool. I really, really enjoy this. To me, this is a best of both worlds for Diablo 2 and World of Warcraft. It seems like they've taken everything that was good about those two games, or lots of things that were good about the two games, combined them, and it's a very enjoyable experience. Very difficult. I'm sure things will get much easier as we find a nice groove, as we find the optimal way to level, and optimal gear early on. As always, we get better and better at the game, more efficient at leveling, more efficient at killing monsters, and acquiring early game gear so we can progress faster. But right now, I'm struggling as well. I didn't realize this guy was burning all my resources, and you could see the succubi up top as well burning my resources. So trying to get through that, struggling a little bit, not too bad. doing pretty good. Seems like they have something for everybody here. If you're playing a sorceress and you are using just your primary attacks, there is a primary attack build that doesn't use any resource. This dungeon will be easy for you. For me, I struggled a little bit being melee, being close range. But we got it done. And right now we're going for a little bit of extra experience there because he's passive while we're in the bubble. So a little bit of extra experience never hurt. Let's level up our glyph. And even though that was a struggle bus, we got through it. Leveling up our glyph. Check our legendary boots. Nothing great. We are looking for 700 plus item level at this point as we are getting ready to transition to World Tier Stone 4. So this was a lot of fun. We ran a T16 and a T15 in that order, a little bit of a backwards order, but this one was a lot more fun. That's going to do it for me. For more BearCozy videos, check out the top right.